recorded. 5.
Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, wherever it may be across the nation or around the world. Once again, you're listening to the VMware Communities Roundtable podcast. This is podcast number 436. My name is Eric Nilsson, not 436, 736. My name is Eric Nilsson, and with me today, I have my regular co-host, Bob Plankers. Today's Wednesday, August 3rd. Is it 3rd? Jeez. I got to learn. 6th. 2020,
yeah,
2025.
I don't know where July went, but wow, August is
I know, right? It is August, and we're getting ready for Explore. It's going to be good. You know, Bob, how's it going?
It's going all right. Yeah, like I said, it's a blur here, man. You know, we're getting ready for Explore. I've got 6 presentations. 2 of them are 90-minute talks. And so figuring out, and 3 of them are brand new, you know, and so brand new presentations are great, but they take a little bit to figure out, you know, and so but yeah, it's just, I don't know, just plugging away at it. August is always busy. So how are you, man?
I'm doing well, but I have the same issue going on, right? We're doing new code labs, and, you know, we're running VCF 9 on, you know, home lab machines. So I've been working with William every day, right? Discovering that you need firmware updates on the VLAN hubs that we got, right? You know, and one of them had a VLAN had firmware up, right? The other one didn't. So we were seeing different, you know, behaviors. Like there's just a lot that goes into building a VCF 9 environment where you have multiple machines, a cluster, where you have VLANs all working together, and then having the Raspberry Pis, you know, have access to all that, so that if you're in the labs, you can, you know, be on Wi-Fi, get back into the cluster, and then, you know, then run PowerShell, all that. It's busy times, right? Oh, and by the way, slides, right? You know, presentation along with that, right?
Yeah. Well, pictures and things to look at, and the right words, and, you know, not putting too many words on a slide because the people in back won't be able to read it, and like, yeah, you know. So
all that good stuff. Yeah, I forget about that. I should go through the Bob Plankers, you know, top 5 things not to do in presentations. I know you've given me that list multiple times.
10-20-30 rule. It's the Guy Kawasaki 10-20-30 rule. 10 slides, 20 minutes, 30-point font. You know. Right.
I like the Fight Club model, right? You know, the professor model. If it's not hard, you're not getting your money's worth.
Sure, you know. Yeah, I don't know. The other thing too, well, you know what, the slides. So I used to raid the Adobe stock photo library all the time. I like using pictures and things. But I tell you what people really do like in presentations, especially presentations where you're trying to convey stuff, is towards at the end, make a checklist, make a big list of all of the stuff. So you know, and I've got some talks where I've got lists like that, and you'll see the entire crowd, 500 people, will raise their cell phones and take a picture of it. And then you look around, everyone got it. All right, now you can go ahead.
Yeah. So let's talk a little bit of the community news, because we're going to go through a bunch of different topics today on the podcast. One, we're going to talk about the community news, you know, what's going on with Explore. Then low-cost ways to get to Explore. That's a topic. We got a blog article out on that. We'll talk about Raspberry Pi 5s, the CPU, the new CPU architecture from Broadcom, running VCF, running PowerShell on it to do VCF 9 labs. So we'll talk a little bit about that, and then we can talk about the hackathon, right? And actually some of the best team project that I've heard so far on the hackathon. So that's on the agenda today. So let's go talk about the news. And the first thing I'd say is Corey Romero is out sick today, so I hope he starts feeling better. I know there's a nasty flu going around. So if you're getting ready to go to Explore, you know, either get the flu now or stay. Yeah, wear a mask or something, because I have had several different friends that didn't test positive for COVID or anything, but just had there's a good flu going around, right? Fever, chills, the whole 9 yards, right? So be aware of that and plan accordingly, because, you know, you don't want to get COVID or a nasty flu 2 days before Explore, right? So
you can control it.
Yeah, to some degree. Anyway, Corey's sick, so he'll be back. vExpert, I know they're doing vExpert announcements. I have not heard whether that went out or not. So the back half of vExpert. So be aware of that. I know he has 160 plus people signed up for their VExpert jacket. So I know that's going on, and the meetup is on Monday morning. So if you're a VExpert and you're going to explore, it'll be in the community booth Monday midday, I think, or 11 a.m., something like that. So watch the mail from Corey, because we are not publishing that meetup. It will be in the community lounge, but obviously we're not going to publish it out too much, just for VExperts. Lots of other events going on in the community booth for the rest of the week. So all that's come together. So let's see, community news wise, it's not too late to go get a ticket and self-fund. We'll talk a little bit about that, which is good. And we talked about the ban last week. So that's good to know. I did hear, Bob, that employees might not be able to go to the party. So
really? Oh, that stinks.
Yeah. Well, I heard that.
I mean,
so
better to have our end users go, but
well, we talked about the fact that it was
honey buckets looked interesting. So
yeah, the honey buckets and at the pool. Like I'm like, yeah, we'll have to see.
Pool to throw you into, did I say that? Oh, sorry.
Yeah, don't say that too much. But if you are a VMware person and you are listening to this and you're going to explore, make sure your badge is turned upside down and sneaky if you're trying to go to the party. I didn't say that, but you can maybe purchase a ticket. I know that it's around the pool, so there's space. They're going to allocate space to the numbers. I heard over 4,000 people are registered already, and we're still chunking up, getting 500 a week or some number like that. I'm not allowed to say any of that, but I know this is going to, we're in target over 5,000 in the 5,000 to 6,000 range, and looks like it's going good. The community sessions, which is in the hub, expo hub area. I know that we've got over 70 people per session scheduled in for those. So the theater is 80 seats this year. So some of them have 150. So we're looking at how to repeat some of the community sessions that are happening it's not called the community theater this year. It's called some other theater, but it's the theater in the by the community areas. So that's happening. A lot of great sessions there. That if you do get the meetings plus pass, we'll talk a bit about that. You can come in and watch all those sessions. So that one's busy. The hackathon has gone live. We'll talk about that. And the VMUG party, Reg is open. If you're a VMUG member and you're coming to explore, the party is open. You can go reg for that. I think they have a space in the venue for 400 to 500, and I think they're coming up to that reg number. They're going to leave reg open. They're going to reg more than the 400 to 500, and you'll kind of do one of the cycle in, cycle out. If you're first in, you get to go in the party. If you're the 467th person, you're going to have to wait for somebody to come walking out of the venue. So the popular club model for that. So that's looking positive. 400 or 500 people going to explore VMUG community members. Hawktan, I believe, is going to be there. I don't know if that's confirmed yet, but I think it is. And then also there will be Brad Tompkins and Brenda, VMUG leader. She's going to present. So not a lot of speeches, just nice food and drinks. And it's in the Venetian. I want to say Wokton or some name that sounds like Wokton in the Venetian. A W is the restaurant name. So that's on the books, and you can go Google how to reg yourself for that party, and reg is open, and you can continue to add yourself and then get to the party early if you want to get in without a line. So I think that's let's see, Hackathon Code Labs. We'll talk about that. Everything is good. So Bob, I take it you're going to explore this year, and you managed to get a ticket.
I think if I don't go, they'd be upset at this point. I've got a number of sessions, and I'm looking forward to it. The opportunity to have a few new things to talk about, explore some new territory here, the pun intended. And a lot of stuff to talk about with 9. There's a lot of interesting stuff going on with VCF 9 and that. So, and VMworld back in the day had 25,000 people at it, and it just it just would feel crazy when we were there. And I really like Explore. Now people say, oh, it's smaller and all that stuff, but it's calmer. Maybe I've just gotten old, and I just like that, just the ability for you and I to have a conversation in the hallway, for example, or to take some time and do something different, to wander around and see the booths and attend some of the community sessions.
Bump into people native because it's not that crowded. Right.
You're not running around like we used to do, and so I don't know. There's still the opportunity to do stuff. It is still Vegas. There's always a group that goes and shoots tanks or whatever they've got, or goes. And
use the bulldozers or the racetracks and all the other things.
The bulldozers, and there's always stuff going on, and going over the Sphere. We had joked the last time, and I don't know how much of a joke it was. Catch the, last.
I bought tickets for Backstreet Boys. And it was expensive. It was a luxury, let me tell you, because it was sold out by the time I got there. But I only have Saturday night free, right? The rest of the nights I've got events. Right?
I looked at it and I was like, So there's some folks.
Yeah, you know that number, right? You know that number. I looked at that number and I went, but I had made promises, so I bought them. I'm looking forward to it. My
excuse is that I can't go with my wife, so I'm not going to go. But
exactly.
I was really never a Backstreet Boys sort of guy, anyhow. But anyhow,
yeah. So anyway, I posted a blog article on today, so it's going to make the circuits, and it's low cost ways to get to Explore. And I did it last year where it was $2,500. How you can get to Explore. Everything out the door, flights, car, everything you need, food, everything for under $2,500. This year, it's under $1,200, right? And the reason is because they have the low cost meeting ticket for Explore. The cheapest way to go buy a ticket for Explore last year was $1,800, where the cheapest ticket now is $695, right? So really, if you look at it, you can look at the flight costs, and ChatGPT is amazing at finding Frontier Airlines tickets from anywhere, and some of the round trip tickets you could get for like $80. Right. From Vegas is extremely cheap if you want to fly. And you want to fly, discount airlines, then, 80, 90, 100. We put an average of $150 in there just because, some places are a little bit further away, and, just to keep it a little bit more realistic on the number, but $150. Treasure Island, which is right next to the Venetian, they have the sky walkway, so you don't even have to cross the street, right? You basically just walk from hotel across a walkway and make a left and another walkway, and you're in the Venetian. That guy was super cheap rates, like $32 a night, but then you have the $50 fee for entertainment or whatever they call it,
or whatever.
Yeah. So by the time you're done, it's $100 and change a night. So we allocated $500 for your hotel, right? If you stayed. Right. If you wanted to commute, walk 30 minutes and take a little train, you can go down to the Excalibur, which their room rates, their resort fee is less. It's only $42 a night, and their room rate is like $18 a night. So you can actually save $30 extra. So you can get your hotel down to $380 if you really, really want to walk every day. I've done the walk. It's not the end of the world, but it's 30 minutes. You have to decide that that's what you want to do.
It is warm out there. It is Las Vegas, but and it might be raining. I mean, we did have a hurricane 2 years ago, so
we did. And you're kind of far away from everything. So like for me, the extra $150 was probably worth it just to be up in the, because if you're across the street, right by the Venetian, then it's you're in the thick of it. Everybody's around.
You run back up to your room during the middle of the day.
Exactly. Right. You can. Yeah, and if somebody tweets you and says, "Hey, let's meet," or message you, "Let's go meet," you're in the ecosystem. Right? Then you have your ticket $695, I want to say. So it's there. That gets you into the expo hall community area. so that you can hang and do everything with community. You can watch all the community sessions in the booth, but it doesn't get you anything much else, right? It gets you a ticket. You can come in to the expo hall, join the community area, be in the community lounge, go to watch the community sessions, and then be in the environment, right? But that's basically it. If you throw another $500 in it, then you can see all the sessions. You're not in Schedule Builder. You have to wait in the overflow queue for all the sessions, but you can just basically go to the sessions you want to go to. Just have to wait in line in order to get in. But that's an extra $500, so it depends where you want to be. But if you add these costs up, and then the Meeting Plus ticket doesn't give you food, right? So that's $675 ticket. You got to allocate another $40 a day for your favorite fast food establishment. They have Subway, they have McDonald's, they have Burger King. You can figure out what you want to eat. We gave you $40 a day for food. Then in the blog article, we did list all the places in the evening you can eat for free. The Hackathon has pizza and soda and candy. That's Monday night. The VMUG party's Tuesday night. They have food there and alcohol, so you can eat there for free. You don't get to go to the Wednesday night party unless you buy a ticket, so you don't have any food there on Wednesday night. But there are ways to find food around, so that's what we kind of listed, and we also gave you $40 a night. So in the end, by the time you add all that up, it's $1,200, give or take. We put that in the blog article. So if you did want to self-fund and come to a party, you can do that. And then you got to think that you're saving money on your daily expenses when you're at home. You still have fuel costs. You still have, toll roads to go to work.
PTO route here,
right. So maybe you trade off
some of that.
Right. Right. So but in the end, if you kind of do it right, you can get there for $1,000, right? We put $1,200 because we're not counting Excalibur. We figure you got to have $40 a day for food. So we kind of put the $1,200 in the budget. And we do show if you spend 3 nights versus 4 nights, how much it costs in the blog article. But in the end, you can self-fund for $1,000. You can come hang out, be at Explore, have a lot of fun with everybody, right? And learn, about VCF 9. There are things to do. And if you want to buy a certification seat, you can buy an Advantage membership and get a free one, or there's ways to get discounts for things. So you can basically get a lot for your career for $1,500, right? And a week in Vegas. So we published that article, and I think it's something that's worth doing. If I didn't work at Broadcom and I didn't have a ticket, I would spend the $1,500 and I would come, because there's so much to learn.
Yep, same here.
Yeah. All right. So that's bar article number 1. Low cost, quite a difference. Like last year's probably $2,500. This year $1,200. So again, cheaper way to go. Plus hotel prices, I think, have come down a little bit. Right. There is a little bit of, oddly enough, price discounts going on. Right. And I'm not sure what that's about. Right.
Well, there's been some news articles about how Vegas is. Attendance in Vegas in general is down or whatever. It's probably just people trying to, resorts and that, trying to attract business and, get people in and that. So that's all right.
Yeah, exactly. So then we move on to the hackathon on Monday night and Code Lab. So what should we do first? Well, we should talk about Raspberry Pi. So the hackathon, the prizes for Team 1, Team 2, and Team 3 are the Raspberry Pi 5 full kits. And Bob, do you know why they cost $140 for a full kit now? Where the old because you need a heat sink and a fan in the Raspberry Pis now, right? Because the CPUs are
pretty fast, isn't it?
Yeah, the new CPUs are supposed to be. What did you say? I think you Googled it before we got on the show.
Let me find it. 2.4 quad core. It's a quad core Broadcom 27 something or other CPU, ARM Cortex A76, 2.4 gigahertz, 4 cores, 2 to 3 times faster than the Raspberry Pi 4.
Right. And the Raspberry Pi 4 was like 2 or 3 times faster than the Raspberry Pi 3. So they're creeping up. And the only thing that I got to ask myself is, what do you need with all that CPU on a little Raspberry? Right? Like, we're like, ARM is great. ARM is, slowly creeping up in the data center, I guess. And there are almost everything is compiled from ARM. If you're not playing video games, right? You want to play League of Legends, then you're done. There are certain things that are just x86 and Mac. But I got one of those guys. We're doing the code labs, and we've got the hackathon prizes are the kits, right? So if you're on a team and you do the hackathon Monday night, then the prizes, I think we have 30 Raspberry Pi kits to give away, right? Plus we're giving away t-shirts, and you're getting a meal Monday night. So we got, I think, 50 people signed up for the hackathon so far, and that'll grow. Yeah. But the Raspberry Pis need that fan because they got hot. They're high performance. They got dual 4K monitor out, so you can run a dual head on them now, right? Which, if you're into Linux, they are super smooth Linux. It's a super smooth Linux box now. And the fan, you don't hear it. So it's just a tiny little micro fan that sits right on the CPU in a little case. So nice little machine, got to say. And you can get PowerShell, PowerCLI on the Raspberry Pi. So I spun it up, installed one, got it running, put a monitor on it, and did the PowerShell into my server in San Jose, and listed my machines, and it all works nice on a tiny little non-existent tiny machine, making no noise. Right?
Yeah. In fact, these machines are so small. Yeah, they make great little desktops. I actually am going to talk about them too as part of my one of my security talks too. You can hide; they're so small you can hide them places and stuff like that. But
put them in your set it on a server like a Tom Cruise Mission Impossible kind of thing, where you go and sneak into the rack and stick it in a USB.
Skydive into your nuclear power plant and get caught in its cooling system or whatever. Yeah, I think that was a mission.
Yeah. That's one of those. But the point is, are those a security threat? Do we have to worry about people making little boxes?
But no, I mean they're terrific. I love how small everything has gotten. In fact, I'm on an old PC, an older laptop here right now, but in about a week, I'm going to have one of those little GMK Tech X2s or whatever.
Sure, I got one of those. Yeah. In
fact, I'm going to run over to Micro Center probably tonight and see if they've got one. And just they're tiny, dude.
You're using your hands. They're like 2 inches by 3 inches by 3 inches. They're like very small. Amazing.
Gigs of RAM or 192 gigs of RAM.
Yep.
And 8 terabytes of disk or 16 terabytes of disk. I think it can take 2. Then putting Linux on it. I mean, it's the Ruby guy, David Hannemeyer Hansen, has been tweeting a lot about using these little things as absolutely mega powerful development stations, and even the Raspberry Pi fits those descriptions too.
That's right. That's why I say smooth machine
into a form factor,
that's right. It is a powerful little machine, and the Raspberry Pi also have the I2C and SPI pinouts on them, so that you can connect little sensors if you want to and do little fun things. I don't know what you'd need that kind of horsepower to do sensor kind of fun little projects, but
power management comes in. Then when you don't need the horsepower, can you shut it off and save power, and not generate heat and things? And the answer there is yes. But
I think so.
Hats too. The hats for them, the PoE hat, the Power over Ethernet hat, for example, is really interesting. There's other hats that you can put a full, instead of booting off a USB device, the SD cards and stuff like that aren't really reliable. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, there you go. That's the guy with the little heat sink now, the little fan.
Yeah. You get a hat that's just got an NVMe connector on it or whatever, and you've got a fully fledged 4-core modern workstation. there. Yeah. So.
Yep. Basically making your phone a computer, right? ARM CPU.
I just saw something posted the other day too that the current generation of Apple Watches has more CPU power than was ever used to put mankind on the moon, for example.
So, yeah. Well, nowadays that doesn't take very much. That's like a 64K RAM chip, and you're like, way ahead of the game, right? And yeah, this is where now, interestingly enough, we've also been struggling through for the code labs. We're running the lab setup is we got 32 stations. They're all running Raspberry Pi 5s, right? With monitor, keyboard, mice, right? Connected to Wi-Fi that then goes into a hub that drops into our VLAN hub that goes between a 3-node cluster, right, in the front of the room. So everybody can get into the 3-node cluster. And then we're going to run PowerShell, ARM-based, 64-bit ARM-based PowerShell on those guys with PowerCLI installed. And then we're going to give you, PowerShell examples for VCF9, right? So tiered memory, turning it on and off, right? Configuring tiered memory to a couple of other different exercises that are happening. But let me tell you, running VCF9 on these, what I'd call, not Nooks, but the mini PC form factor, right? You realize even though it's a tiny computer, right? It's not easy to configure. It's like data center work to configure, VCF9, even though it's running on small machines, and we have a VLANs, router that is between them, so that we have 3-node cluster that that talks on port 1, port 2, port 3, and all the VLANs tagged across that switch. There's a lot of configuration and there's a lot of planning that goes on installing all of VCF9 and configuring it. I've watched William Lamb's blog because William's been in my office. We bought him the machines, and he's got 2, I've got 2, and we've been, setting them up. And, if you were planning a VCF9 deployment, I would think that you would probably spend 6 months determining your hardware, your switches, and getting everything ready to go, and then setting up and deploying it. We're trying to do it in 3 weeks, right? And all that work still has to be done, right? Just because it's a home lab doesn't mean that you still don't have to architect it all.
Yeah, I can just hear my wife commenting on my lab environments and stuff like that at home. What is all this crap? Well, I've reinvented an enterprise in my garage.
Right. Right.
Yeah, it's basically
now it's super fun once you have it. Because
but there's a lot. It's very educational, even just figuring out VLANs and things like that.
Right.
Network plumbing and networking is something that a lot of sysadmins don't really have a good grasp of and an understanding of, and so getting some exercise, some actually doing some of that
that's right. I'm not a networking
work, hand you a cable and it's a pipe, tell you what it needs to be set to,
so. I'm not a networking guy, right? And I have never dealt with VLANs. I know what a VLAN is, right? But like the details of you have 4 ports and you define VLANs, but how do you know what VLAN your client is on, right? It turns out it's the IP address, right? You make an IP address range, and that defines what VLAN that thing's going to sit on, right?
Well, that's the IP range, and then the VLAN, and depends on if the port has got tagged VLANs or untagged.
Right, and this is tagged, right?
VLAN
tagged VLAN, and understanding that and getting your feet wet in that space, it's okay, and then determining that
talk to your network guys the next time you go to work, and next time you've got a problem, you actually know what the hell they're talking about. It's it's a powerful thing. So
right, and then just watching your storage IDs when you're configuring things and setting up tiered memory was just interesting to allocate out an SSD to tiered and knowing the ID, and then running the kickstart. We set them up using Kickstart, which is beautiful, right? But you have to you have to write Kickstart script, right? That goes through Now, the beautiful thing is we made a menu for the Kickstart so that you can, one USB key has all the ISO bits in it, has a menu, right? What system one, system two, and with different Kickstarts for, very William Lambish, right?
With love, you know.
Yeah,
but
yeah. And so you spend time doing that, and then next thing you know how to do it. And I think I've loaded the machines at least 6 times now, right? The nice thing is you kickstart them and it goes fast, right? So you can get that stuff set up, and then you have to actually then go do the VCF9 install, which is not just go get a whole bundle of gigabit of bits. No, you have to set up a local install server, right?
Mm-hmm.
So 9 does not install directly from an ISO image, right? You have to take those ISO image, build a website that's an install server on your local network, then boot up boot up ESXi that runs the VCF9 VM that knows to go pop up a GUI.
Yeah, it's a little more complicated than it used to be. Yeah, if you want to go that route for installing, it's more complicated. And we're working on it. It's part of the roadmap to simplify a lot of this stuff. But
but but it is there, and then you go through it. So what I would say is VCF9 is one of these things that you're going to spend some time learning, right? And it's not VCF 5.3. It's not vSphere alone. It's a project. And the people that ask me like, well, why do I need my VCP certification to go get VCF 9 from Advantage Home Lab? And after going through this, I'm like, because you're going to want to train yourself before you start doing this, right? If you haven't played with vSAN, if you haven't done NSX, go do some education, get certified, so that when you go through this, you'll at least understand kind of what's happening.
Yeah, well, you're going to get asked a bunch of questions, and you're going to need to know the answers to these questions. And they're questions about VLANs and their IP ranges and NTP servers and vSAN topographies or topologies,
right.
All of that stuff. And it's like, it's drinking from a fire hose is what it amounts to. So, like if you've seen it before, it helps.
Right. So I think that for this setup, William Lamb has now probably 7 to 8 different blog articles for different pieces that we're setting up, right? So, and it's useful, right? The blogger, he's an excellent blogger. So, like, I find an error in his blog. He's like, okay, it's fixed, right? Like that. So, but it is one of these. It's fun because I feel like I haven't had to learn anything new in probably 7 years, right? Just vSphereing along.
Yeah.
Right.
It feels weird to actually have to stretch the brain a little bit, but nice.
Yeah, and then realize how much of IT. All right, I got another takeaway for you. I've determined that ChatGPT is no good for IT projects, right? That the stuff is always 2 or 3 revs back from what you're trying to do, right? It gives you just setting up my PowerShell on my Raspberry Pi 5. No, it gave me a nice little 5 list instructions. Oh yeah, sure, go do this. None of them are right. None of them worked, right? And you're like, there's something about IT that is current enough, things change quickly enough that AI just isn't able to keep up. Interesting.
Yeah, yeah, I've noticed that as well. Most of my AI use, well, and I see it too because I do a lot of security and compliance stuff,
right.
And people in large corporations that should know better ask compliance questions of these AIs and things like that, and get strange answers, and then at least they know that the answer is wrong or seems wrong, and come looking for a guy like me. But yeah, it's the AIs still have to learn from somebody. They're not.
Right.
They're not developing this knowledge on their own, and so and it's so intensive. Was it yesterday or sometime this week? Cloudflare was noting that Perplexity is violating their agreements about indexing and things like that. Perplexity is actually obscuring their their bots and their source information and all that stuff, and to try to stay ahead of all of this stuff, try to learn it as it goes, and learn as the content is developed. And on one hand, I guess that's all right. I guess that's the way of things moving forward. As somebody who generates these things, that really kills my traffic as far as blog. Why write a blog post when Perplexity is going to steal all my traffic, that sort of thing. And I worry about that in aggregate. But yeah, you're absolutely right. It doesn't. It's not current.
It's not current enough, right?
To keep it up to date are getting better, shorter and shorter cycles. But still, like if you want to know about VCF 9. Yeah,
they give you example. They give you commands with paths to different things, right? All it takes is one little version number to be wrong, and it just goes, "Oh, sorry, I can't do a package add here." Blah blah blah, error message, and you feed it back the error message, and it gives you something else that also doesn't work because of right, because it's just not current enough, right? And that's all there is to it.
Well, and it's flailing because it doesn't know. These things are not. People think of them as alive and all that stuff, but they're not. They're they're just pattern recognition engines and things, and they seem human, and sometimes seem human and seem smart, but they're smart in the way that a precocious child is smart. They've absorbed a lot of knowledge, but don't have
they're like a 9-year-old. That's where I'd put it out. It's like it thinks it's smart.
Interactive manual, smart.
But that gets me to the hackathon. We updated a hackathon blog, so you can go Google the blog if you want. It's on code blogs.vmware.com/code. We updated that with some of the teams, and the most interesting project is a guy named Dale. He's a team captain. Don't remember his last name, but he's doing a project where he's trying to build an AI, taking vSphere, building an MCP interface to all the vSphere command set, so that you can have an AI that will, learn enough to help you run vSphere, right? Which is interesting.
Okay, well, it seems interesting. I just think of the quip that many people have had in the InfoSec world, that the S in MCP stands for security, But I don't know. I was thinking about the agent-based stuff, because there's the agents now that you can have Claude Code or whatever, the agentic stuff, basically take over a web browser. I was actually kind of thinking, spinning that around in my mind a few days ago. What if we took one of these AI agents and pointed it at like the vSphere UI, the vSphere client or something like that? What could it learn to do and what would it know how to do? But I don't know if anybody does that.
Right. And there is certainly some training that needs to go on, which the MCP is designed to grab the data and then deliver it to you, so you can learn enough to have your AI be smart enough to engage with that. So that's all I know, right? But it read as a good project for the hackathon.
MCP, every time I'm sitting here chuckling, and it's not because of you, it's because I love Tron. I watch
Tron. Right.
MCP, the Master Control Program or whatever.
Right.
Terrible animation back from the 80s. So that's what I think of when you say MCP.
Yeah. I forget I don't even know what MCP stands for in the AI space, but it's basically an interface to your data. Model controller protocol model control something.
Model
protocol, I think.
Protocol. Model
context protocol, right? So that'll be interesting. Monday night. We're going to have Raspberry Pis there, so if you want to drop in to the hackathon on Monday night, you can win a Raspberry Pi, and we'll have some Raspberry Pi projects that you can hack on for the evening. Eat some free pizza, hang out with everybody that's writing code, and we have published, I think, 5 team projects that are out there on the blog right now that you can go engage with them. We have the team captain's email address on the website, so cool. You can go figure out. If you don't want to spend a lot of time partying at Explorer, you can come to the hackathon Monday night, where we don't have alcohol, just pizza and drinks and candy. So there you go. Got that going for you.
bring a beer in with you. But yeah, you know, yeah, I don't know. My drinking has slowed down in my old age here, but spending the night on Monday night with you guys sounds like a good plan.
Yeah, you should figure out what you're doing. Mark Hubert, VCX 181. He dropped out, right? So I'm looking for a new team. I'm looking for a new team captain. I think it's Bob Plankers. And
no, I don't think so. I've got so much going on at Explore right now.
I know. I
gotta learn how to say no. Yeah,
I think we should call it the eat pizza and have Chat GPT write your code evening, because I think I think four of the five teams last week had all the projects were done through Chat GPT, right? Like it's and now they have other Grok or I forget the one that everybody's writing code with these days. There's
Claude code, probably
Claude, right? So everybody's writing them.
People were going so crazy with it. So, but
yeah. So yeah, we're gonna put out the pictures of the Raspberry Pis, a stack of them, and come to the hackathon, win a Raspberry Pi. Given that we have 30 Raspberry Pis and we only have like 50 people come to the hackathon, the probability of actually getting a Raspberry Pi is pretty high, right? And they're the full kit too, with the Power Brick 60. I forget. I don't know I want to say 64 gig SSD. So you got plenty of storage and and a nice little case and cables for a double monitor. So you got the HDMI cables. So if you have HDMI monitors at home, you get the cables also. So it's a nice kit. So it's a $140 kit. So, and then a hackathon T-shirt. How can you go wrong?
Yeah, I agree.
Yep. Well, Bob, that's all I got here. Those are the things that we're ramping up to go to Explore. And I would say, if you FOMO, we're going to start promoting the FOMO, fear of missing out, if you're not coming to Explore. So that way, all you got to do is come up with $1,000, right? Go to your boss and say, "Come on, it's only $1,000."
Well, if you're going to ask your boss, I would say 2,000 to start with, but to the and then you can hang out. But yeah, to your point, it's you can do this trip on a fairly lean budget. So, but
and we are gonna try to build a spreadsheet of after hours things going on. Right. I know there are some gambling events that are happening. Right. I have to be careful because, sometimes the event team doesn't like us publishing, after hour events, but we're going to try to put a spreadsheet together. We used to do that. Get one of the community members, the experts to list the after hours events that are happening so that if you want to come and you don't want to go to the hackathon, you can go to other things.
Yeah. Well, and there's always so much going on too that, if you don't want to gamble, then go to Hackathon. If you don't want to go to the Hackathon, there's always, gonna be and there's vendor parties and stuff like that.
Yep.
Vendors are having gatherings. If, at this point, if you're going, you should be asking your vendor teams and stuff like that. Hey, you guys doing anything? Are you going? Are you doing anything? Take me out for a nice dinner, that sort of thing. So, but, that's always an approach as well. So.
Yep. Also a good approach.
Yeah.
All right. Well, Bob, I didn't do, let's see, did I do some barbecue? I did a tri-tip just on charcoal last weekend, right? It's just an Old Faithful salt and pepper. Made sure that I put a thermometer in it. So I just went up to 135. So it stayed nice and pink inside. And always good. Yep.
Got a shout out from Josh out here. Gosh, I haven't seen you in a while, pal. V-Beards. Remember V-Beard? I was just wearing the Sugar Skull hat that I got from you, man. You had set up to order or whatever back in the day. So glad to see you're still around and out there. But barbecue. So you did that turned out well?
Yeah. The key is to, on charcoal is to, make sure you have a thermometer in it so that you're not, because smoker, you can kind of control what's going on. You can set the temperature in a smoker. Charcoal, it's kind of like, all right, depends how much charcoal you got in, how hot is it, how good did it light, what kind of charcoal you're using. But then, so just make sure you put a thermometer in it and then, run it up to 135 and let it rest. And then it's nice and pink inside. Give it not raw. I like medium. I like mine medium, a little bit north of medium. but you want some pink dripping out of it, and then it's good, right? Then it's just
letting it rest is like, that's the thing that, that's like the first major thing that when you're learning how to cook meat like this, to let it rest, that it's okay to let it sit and cool and just chill out for like, 10, well, it depends on the piece of meat. I mean, a brisket or whatever, you wrap it up and stick it in a cooler and it can rest for days at that point. But that's like the first game-changing level up thing that I think people run into is just let it rest.
Let it rest. I also watched a video that was talking about running it up over 200 degrees sometimes causes the tendons to break in the meat or something, and then let it rest. And you don't do it for very long, but it was interesting to what they said about that. Where
slow cooking, smoking stuff is that you melt all that stuff out, and all of that connective tissue breaks down in there and melts and comes out, and that's what makes it tough. But when all that stuff is gone or transformed,
then it gets soft. Yeah, right.
Yeah, it's a tough brisket, because brisket, it's sort of like the holy grail nowadays as far as smoking meats and that. But it was always just a cheap cut of meat because it was so tough and awful and cooking it, just slow cooking it for hours, and it's just transformative. But I've got a couple of pork butts in the fridge right now. I will rub them down tomorrow. A couple of friends of mine actually just traded livers, and we live in a sci-fi book, basically, where it turns out your liver will regrow, so you can give somebody 2/3 in this case of your liver, and you will regrow your liver. And so I'm making a bunch of smoked pork for the weekend for those families that I know that are
going through that process. Right.
Yeah, it's wild, saving a life and regrowing your own liver, like holy buckets,
I've read about that. That's a smart, it's amazing.
I've read about it too, but like holy crap, it's a friend of mine, and so, but so
do some charity smoking. Good man.
Yeah, twist my arm, put 4 pork butts on there, 2 for me, 2 for them, but
I feel like barbecue.
So
barbecue is a little bit like art. Artists always have too much art. They got to give their art away because they run out of wall space over the course of the 30 years. Right. So barbecuing, it's important to have other people that want to eat your barbecue because you can't eat it all yourself. Right.
Yeah. Well, I don't think I'm going to have this. I'll do some quick pickles along with it and some coleslaw and all that stuff. It'll be good. So come on by if you're in southern Wisconsin.
All right. Well, good luck with your slides. Good luck with me and my slides. And we're in the last 10 or 15 days of what has to happen to be at Vegas.
Yep. It's going to be a blur.
All right.
Cool.
Thanks a lot, Bob. All right. Thanks a lot. Next week. VC Ops next week. We got a guy that's supposed to come, and we'll talk about the operations console. So,
very cool.
Talk to you later.